Okay, who can tell me where we left off?
We were trudging back to the airship with half-naked dwarves.
Yes, you had indeed made it back to the airship.
We are
Now,
back.
we had determined earlier that I had done your disease, the salt plague, wrong. So what I want you to do is just roll your full endurance dice pool and drop any 4s, 5s, or 6s that you get.
Okay. Okay, I'm dropping 2.
Okay. So that's it for this day. You're down to 2d6 for your endurance dice pool. Daniel still fails his logic medicine test to add anything to your dice pool, and you are still suffering from salt plague, but not nearly as bad as we had mentioned before.
Can I make the attempt?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. You can go ahead. Daniel seems incapable of helping at the moment.
What's my check on this?
Logic medicine.
Okay, but what am I looking for?
21.
Okay. 16. Exactly 21.
Okay, Rory, you have 3d6 in your endurance dice pool for that.
All right, yeah, so, oh man, what'd you do? That feels a little better.
Terrask, while Dane is administering successful healing to you, the dwarf woman is still there with you, rubbing your back and your shoulders. And the rest of the dwarves will go about their merry way, repairing the essential parts to the ship that need to be repaired. It is going to take them... well, let me see.
Yeah, Ishtar needs to sleep. Ishtar is still like half dead.
I'll do 1d6 minus 2 for how many days it's going to take. So 1 day. It's going to take them at least a day to fix the ship, to get it to a point where you guys can hobble it back to where you launched from.
I had asked earlier, would we be able to take this time to do any additional repairs to equipment? I know that my staff still needs repaired and my armor still needs repaired to get full soak back.
Yeah, I think it was a woman on the ship, your blacksmith there. She will take your gear and spend a day on it.
Okay, great.
She will make a what? Let's see. I think your staff had 25. Well, how many hit points does your staff have left?
Oh, geez. I don't even have that anymore in front of me. Let me look here and see if I had it in my notes. Yeah, it was pretty low. It was hurting.
Yeah. All right. So she's just going to make a logic blacksmithing test at a difficulty of how much health your staff is missing. So I had 25, it's down to 4, so she just needs to roll an 11 or higher to repair the wooden staff. That's not too bad.
Okay.
And she's a trained blacksmith, so this shouldn't be a problem for her.
That's dwarves.
Or no, this woman's not a dwarf. Or at least, unless I described her as such earlier, which I don't think I did.
Get the dwarves to fix it.
No, you never determined what the blacksmith's race was.
No,
She is not a dwarf, unless I said she is. Then she's a dwarf.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure she's a human. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. She crushed it. She crushed the check. She's able to fix up your staff. Now, you said your armor is busted?
Yeah, my armor's still got holes in it from those acid attacks previously, or whatever attacks it was that it knocked my soak down by 2.
All right, let me make another check for her. That one is equally as awesome. So both of your things will be repaired by time the ship sets sail tomorrow.
Awesome.
We sailing away on an airship we go.
Does anybody else have anything else they want to do before settling in the ship for the night?
Normally, I think Ishtar would try and get a drink, but he's not doing too well, so he's going to go sleep.
All right. Daniel will spend time meditating over anyone who is injured and healing them.
Something that gives me bonus health.
Yes, he's
Yes,
going
my
to...
urchin life on the streets.
So, Ishtar, how bad off are you? This is going to determine on how much energy he expends.
I am down by 18.
Okay.
Oh,
All
no,
right.
I am down by a full 20.
Okay, he is going to lay on hands for... well, those rolls are abysmal. For 8.
Oh, jeez.
For 8 hit points for
Hey, it's
Ishtar.
something.
And then you'll get
Shouldn't
to
he
roll
be able to
your
recover his endurance dice pool as well?
Yeah, yes, for resting. Who else needs healing? Daniel will visit you in the
Actually,
night.
with resting, I'll probably, because I get an extra D6 when resting, so.
Korik is down 22.
Okay, he'll use the big one, which is a 14.
Oh. All right, guys, I got to do a baby emergency.
No problem.
Not an emergency, but
Terrask.
just it's okay. It's a diaper change. I got to do. That's it.
It could be an emergency.
It might be.
I'm at full health. Before I bed down for the night, I will want to meet with Daniel and inquire about meditating for the purpose of connecting with my master.
Okay, let me get to Terrask first, and I think you're probably hurting, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm missing 33 points.
Good lord.
Wow.
What's wrong with you? Take 11 more hit points.
You sent a crazy shapeshifter after us.
He got you there.
And for 11 hit points to you. And then as you rest, add your endurance, or you know the usual. Roll your endurance dice pool and all
I still
that
get
great
to
kind of.
roll my regular endurance dice pool. Like
Yes.
the salt thing is just its own pool. Okay.
Yep, you got it.
So that's another 10.
And then you'll inhale a bunch of salt.
Well, yeah, when he comes to do that, he sees me in the baths. I'm trying to use sparingly the salt. So I'm like reaching into a bowl and like putting a little bit on my tongue and like letting it kind of melt. And the dwarf woman is like rubbing my shoulders and he looks at me. And I'm just kind of like, what? She's good at rubbing shoulders and my shoulders hurt.
She smiles and she's missing teeth.
It's okay. He just grabs the salt and just puts a little bit more.
It's okay. So yes, you can approach Daniel and ask him. Go ahead and ask him what you wanted to ask.
I'm wondering if it's possible to somehow reconnect with my master, even though he is gone, or somehow connect to where I can find out who it was better who killed him, so we can pursue him or
her. He will sit with you. He doesn't sit in any oriental fashion or any type of special way. He just sits normal, and he says, well, he is gone. There are schools of magic that may let you see the shadows of what happened before. You might be able to see indirectly who it was specifically who took his life. But I don't have access to that kind of magic, and I don't know where you could find it.
I'm willing to meditate to see if it. I'm willing to meditate to see if it will. I can gain focus on him, or gain focus on that time. I may not know the magic, but I do know how to meditate.
He says, I won't stop you.
Okay.
I wish I could help further.
You've done very much, friend. And we'll make sure that we get that ring back for my master.
And
so
when you say that, Sir Remshel enters the room behind you and he says, and there is much more still yet to be done.
By what do you mean, Sir Remshel?
Says, well, we have uncovered new enemies and new threats. We must clear evil from this land. It's clearly taking over.
I feel I cannot effectively fight the evil until I have what my master apparently was intending to bestow upon me.
Sir Remshel will say, seem like you've been doing fine to me. And then Daniel will follow that up with saying, remember that the goddess tests us in different ways. Meditate on that as well.
Fair enough. Thank you. And at that point, I will I'll air my state. I've got divination and meditation at the same level, so I guess.
Yeah, the divination will only apply if you're casting divination spells. In this case, okay. Basically what you're trying to do is think back and remember as clearly as possible the happenings that you witnessed when your spirit was brought there.
So would this be determined as intuition?
I'm still deciding the core statistic to use for this, because this isn't really a this is where I think any game kind of falls apart, is in this exact kind of scenario where we're trying to figure out what best. I think willpower is going to be
okay.
What you want to use for this. Willpower meditation.
Okay, that would give me 66. And remind me again, the rule regarding luck dice is that your luck die pool recharges after rest, correct?
It's on manual mode, so you. Okay. Or wait, no, I think I'd reread that because I'd had it wrong before. I think so. Yeah, I think it recharges on rest, and then once per day you can spend 5 minutes to recharge it.
Okay, because I haven't gone to sleep yet, so I'm blowing my entire luck dice pool to try to make this happen. So I'm going 9d6 to try to get this. Okay, green dice, give me some sixes. There's one, so.
Yes, at the start of each game day, each player should form a luck dice pool. Okay. And then, once per day, a character may spend 5 minutes to replenish his luck pool. Cool.
Okay, that was a 30. I rolled a 39.
Wow.
I told you, I blew my entire luck pool because I knew it's like, end of the day, meditate, rest, get my luck pool back.
Okay, so you sit down, you find like the perfect spot on the ship, you get the perfect pillow, you find the perfect spot that is completely silent, and you can get in this meditative trance, basically. And yeah, everything seems to line up for perfect conditions for just really going for it. And when you you close your eyes and you you start getting flashes back of what had happened before. And one of the things that you focus on is the assault on the monastery itself. And you're trying to see who are these people that are attacking the monastery. You notice that they looked like cloaked riders, almost kind of like from Lord of the Rings, just less ethereal, less wraithy, and more real. And
Nazgul.
Right. And one thing that you notice that catches your eye immediately that you hadn't caught before, as you're reliving this experience that you had, is a banner that one of them is carrying. And it is an emblem that you've seen before. It is indeed the emblem of the dragon's hand.
Okay.
And then as you go in further, and you keep going through the dream, or rather the out-of-body experience you had, you come to the moment where your master is killed, and the killer, him or herself, is out of view. So you were never able to see, actually, in that experience, who did it. So no matter how well you roll, that wouldn't change what you saw.
Okay.
But you did notice in rerunning this in your mind that it was indeed the dragon's hand who were assaulting the monastery that night.
Okay. Do I see what happens to the ring?
Before he did anything with the ring, he held it out and he showed it to you, and then he was killed. And as soon as he was killed, you were dejected from the whole experience and thrown back into your body. So you never actually saw what did wind up happening to the ring.
Okay.
Yep.
But it gives me something.
So you all wake up the next morning, and you wake up to the dwarves finishing their work. They worked overnight. They are extremely grateful for the help that you guys gave them here. And Yeldrick, he will approach the lot of you, and he'll kind of... He doesn't have a hat, but he kind of gives you a gesture of farewell and says, "If you're ever in the area again, feel free to stop by. We're going to start building out our settlement outside the cave." And he'll come up to... he'd come up to Dane, who seems the most scholarly, I guess. And he will hand you a kind of this small stack of... It might look like a book, but it's not. It's kind of like in a leather-bound thing, but it's a bunch of loose pages. And he hands it to you, and he'll tell everyone there that these are Figrak's documents, and he'll tell you that when it was a long time ago, but Figrak wasn't always this bad person. He was his brother, and he was researching down in the pepper mines, and one day he never returned. The whole lot never returned, until one day he just came back, and he seemed different, but everybody was glad that he was back. But while he was gone, Yeldrick took his things and kind of stored them away, because he had a lot of notes, and Figrak was studying something in particular, and Yeldrick says, "I don't know what the hell he was onto. He seemed to think it was something, but now I think it was related to this changeling thing, so you might find some useful information in there."
I take the bundle, and I thank him in my traditional manner. I say, "Thank you greatly for this. We will definitely study it, and if there's anything that we can share with you in the future, we'll be very happy to do so."
He yells to the woman dwarf who's over next to Terrask, because she's not wanting to leave. And she'll kind of give him a look like she doesn't want to go. And then she's like, and then she looks to you, Terrask.
And Terrask walks up to the two of them, and he goes to shake the chief's hand, and he just says, just a gift to say I'm sorry for not believing you. And he kind of takes some pepper and pours it into the chief's hand. And then he turns around and says, thanks for the back rubs. And then walks away.
Okay. Yeah, when you hand him the pepper, he smiles. He doesn't say anything, but he smiles and nods, gives you a stern nod. And he'll thank you all again. And they are off on their way. What did I do with those dwarf names? I suppose it's not going to matter now. Yeah, that's okay. So, yes, you are all... It's about approaching midday by the time you guys are set to cast off. And if you have no further business in the middle of the mountains, the freezing mountains, then you can set off.
The dwarves are gone. Might as well take off.
Yeah.
Yes, please. I'd love
We
to
need to
get
head
out
back
of
to
here.
where we were planning to go.
Korak will, during the flight, will approach Daniel and ask him what other training do I need to do as a knight?
He says that the mark that you bear on your shoulder can be accessed for further power, and the more that you devote yourself to, the more you commit yourself to this order, to this calling, the more powerful that will become. So the more powerful you become, the more powerful it becomes, and you guys become kind of coexistent and more powerful together. But it will only gain in power if it knows that you are of a heart and of a mind to do what it would will you to do. And it's not like an evil object. It's not going to take over your will, but it's not going to grant you power unless it can see in your heart and in your mind that your motives are pure, basically. And so that's what he wants you to focus on. He wants you to focus on like purity and honor, basically, are the two things he wants you to focus on. Those are the two things he thinks that Korak needs to work on the most in order to develop himself more fully as a person.
Okay.
Okay, the ship takes off. The Trollclaw Mountains. You guys have another couple of days in the air. The trip is very rocky. There are several moments where there's chaos and panic on the ship because they hear a creak or they hear a snap, and they think, "Oh my gosh, this is it. We're dead." But it turns out it's the dwarves did a good job of securing the rigging, and everything's good. It's really just the damage from the ship, the bottom of the ship that everybody's hearing. And one thing, Ishtar, you notice is that Kenya, your donkey, has frostbite. And despite all of your best efforts to keep her warm and do all these things, she doesn't seem to be getting any better.
Ishtar, my friend, I think it's time we get you a new animal.
But this is Kenya.
I understand.
An almost one night stand in Nala.
I like her too, but if she's yours, then it's your responsibility to put her out of her misery.
I don't know
No,
if
I'm
Ishtar
not
knows
going
how
to
to
make you role play putting down an animal. That's cruel. But
I don't think Ishtar really knows how to do it like quickly and painlessly.
yeah, no. You're not 100% convinced that she is on her deathbed yet. She still looks like she might have a little bit of kick left in her, but that trip out in the ice and into the cold and then back again, the other donkey seemed to take it okay, but she just didn't. And yeah, it's kind of 50-50 at this point whether or not she pulls through this. We'll leave that one to chance when the time comes. So you clear the Trollclaw Mountains finally. You're out.
Now, I imagine I have a few rolls to make.
For
the days traveled.
For the disease.
Yes, thank you. So thank you. The first day goes by, and I need you to make your 3d6 endurance dice pool check.
Your dice roller is always really friendly to me, so I don't trust it not to completely wipe out my dice pool, so I'm using regular dice.
Now he rolls 3 4s.
No, I definitely am glad I rolled these. 1, 1, 2.
Okay.
Good.
Then Daniel will attempt a logic medicine test on you.
As will Dane. 21, right?
That's the target number.
Thank you.
Daniel does not get it. He gets a 17.
One short, 20.
Ishtar, do you have anything? What's your logic at? Is it physically possible for you to help your friend?
What's the 21? No.
Wait, can they add luck dice to these rolls? Because
Yes,
I
you
demand
can.
luck dice.
Russell, you could add a luck die.
Possible, but highly
I
unlikely.
could, and actually I will. 3. There. Even if I rolled a 1, I would have succeeded.
There
so,
you go.
I was like, I want to see some luck dice on this. This is my life at stake, fellas.
Corey,
my
Corey
logic's
could,
only 3d6.
Corey will make you.
Still be a.
Corey will make you salt potatoes.
Ooh, make a cooking check.
Cooking is. That be logic?
I was just trying to find that, and I think so.
Okay.
That makes the most sense.
All right. It's only 2d6. I have 1 in cooking.
I always let Korak cook with intuition. It's feeling for him.
Okay.
Okay.
And as it's my hook, it is an exploding quell. So, 1 did explode. 10, 15. I got 21 there. 22.
Fantastic. That potato, those salt potatoes are so freaking good. They make you feel so much better. That gives you another die on your endurance dice pool. So you should be back up to
You're up 2 dice.
No, he started with 3, so yeah, he gains 2. So now you're at 5d6 for the dice pool, which is fantastic because what it takes to get rid of the disease is...
I gained 2. Oh, sweet.
Yeah, from the potato. It's so
excellent.
good. Yeah, now, you need to have 3 days in a row where your dice pool exceeds its starting value, which was 4. So this is the first day.
Can Ishtar make a like a relaxation?
That's what I was thinking you were going to do.
With my herbs?
Yeah.
All right, so...
What exactly would that do for him?
Shut up, Dane. Shut up.
It depends. It depends on how...
So is the herbalism and
Caleb
intellect
says what
or
he's doing here. What's he trying? Salt potatoes made sense.
By the spirits of... Every time somebody wants to have some fun, Dane comes in. Well, what does that do medically? Shush, Dane.
It's gonna be like a half. It's like half painkiller, half nice happy thoughts.
Positivity is
No,
important part of healing.
that's more out of character as to wondering what it would do for him.
I'm just messing with you.
Most of what Ishtar does with that,
Okay.
mechanically, I can only do one thing really with it, so I'm just having fun with herbalism.
Yeah, no, I want you to do it. I will reward creativity.
Logic or intellect?
What
You mean intuition?
Do you have a?
Intuition. I keep calling it intellect. I forget what game that is.
Does the exploit call for anything in particular? The alleviate condition exploit, does that call for?
I just need like 2 full turns.
Okay, so we're going to be rolling for kind of the potency or the quality of it. That makes sense. So yeah, roll. Hold on. I know it'll be here. That will be logic. Logic,
Chicken
herbalism.
herbalism.
Yeah.
$17.
Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah.
5, 5, 5, 2.
Yeah, I mean 16 was kind of what I had in my head for the difficulty level of that. I know it's a 21 for the medicine check. But these are all kind of things that are adding on.
Yeah, I'm not really looking to heal. This is more like relax, take it easy, dull the pain a little bit.
Yeah, it boosts the whole healing process.
Salt potato and herbal remedies.
Yeah, with the salt potatoes, just knock them right out.
Great.
Exactly. So, Terrask, you're fat
Actually,
and happy.
all the herbalism is going to do is help him eat the salt potatoes faster.
You get another D6 on your endurance dice pool for that, so you're at 66 for that.
All right. So I guess I got another day to roll.
Yeah. Now, all of you basically after all of this will be at full health. After traveling for this long, don't bother rolling your endurance dice pools. So Terrask, make that 66 roll for me. So you've had 1 day of being over your starting dice pool. This is good.
So I got 1, 3, 3, 4, 4,
Just 1
and a 2.
So you're back down to 4d6.
Okay.
Yep, Daniel, attempt to heal you again.
Got exactly 21.
Okay.
We are traveling, so feel free to add the luck dice. You're going to get them back immediately. Just feel free.
Oh yeah, I know.
Dope them on it.
So yeah, you're back up to 5d6, which is great because this will be another day, another time interval out of the 3 that you need.
Oh, that counts.
Get one more check in.
What was that, Russ?
I was going to say, we got one more check to do.
So by the time the end of the second day rolls around, it was going to take you about 2 days to get there. So as you guys come over Nala, because you have to fly over Nala to get to where you are going to land the ship, because where you were landing the ship is south of Nala. So you fly over Nala, and the sun's beginning to set on this second day, and as you fly over, you can see the city kind of lit up with torches and stuff like that. It seems kind of more bustly than you would think it would be at this hour of night. It seems like there's some commotion down in the city. But nonetheless, as you make your way over the city, everybody give me perception tests.
Okay. Perception's on intuition, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
19.
Very good.
17.
Excuse me. Blow my last luck back for this one.
Those are 2 17s for Terrask
Yes.
and Korak.
16. 20.
Okay, you all notice as you pass over the city that there is a small contingent. It's still light. Well, actually, they have a few torches with them. There's a small contingent of horseback riders that are dispatched from Nala, making their way south, presumably to where you guys are going to be landing. They look like they just got sent out and they're boogieing down south. So you guys have some visitors that are coming on their way.
Visitors.
Yeah.
Is there, can anyone pass well enough to see a banner or any kind of insignia?
No, you see nothing of that sort.
Okay.
No, just torches.
What time are we landing?
By time you get there and you land, it's probably about 10 o'clock would be the best way to think of it.
Okay, so it's dark.
Yeah.
The night is young.
Yes, you guys, when you come up to the city, you notice that they have a particular way of landing ships here. So the one of the spears that shoots out to land the ship is busted off. But that apparently doesn't matter because they will let down a special thing you haven't seen before off the back end of the ship. It's almost like a, when jets, like the high-tech jets land on short runways, they have those, like a thing that they grab
They have a
hold
tail.
of. And yeah, that's kind of the same concept here. Not nearly as sophisticated or anything. It's a bunch of beefy-looking guys grabbing hold and then trying to slow it down manually, and they have some logs and things that they're putting up and slowing it down as the
Pretty
captain.
epic of guys just grabbing an airship and like, stop an airship.
The ogres on the wings, they slow it down. The forward momentum isn't very high, so they really just
kind of looks over at Ishtar, who seems kind of excited about this, and it's just like, this is not a good idea. Humans are not bright. This is not smart. They have... Oh, my goodness. He just walks over.
So they get the ship landed finally, and the engineer who you'd met with very briefly before taking the ship comes out, and he's a dwarf. He's got his spectacles on, and he says, "What the hell is this? What you done to my ship?"
We can explain that.
The entire freaking side of it's missing.
We fixed it.
Well, okay, first we crashed.
Well, that's bloody obvious.
Yeah, it was totally trashed. We got it fixed. It was able to fly back, but yes, it was crashed.
The captain of the ship will approach him and they'll begin bantering back and forth, yelling at each other and so on and so forth. All of the rest of the crew and the new guardsmen that you've taken from Lane will come out. Ishtar, or actually, you guys all grab your mounts. Ishtar, when you go to find Kenya, it's the fateful frostbite die. So this is for her health. So the lower is worse, higher is better. Okay. She's alive. She's not doing too well, as to be expected, but she seems like she's sticking around. She seems like she's holding on to life. She's able to shimmy her way out.
Yeah. All right, so I guess I won't ride her. I'll walk beside her at this point.
Yep.
I don't really know any horse lullabies, but I'll sing. I'll do some light singing to her.
Yep, they take her away along with the rest of the pack animals that they have, which are just a few other donkeys, and well, that's pretty much it.
As they come to take Kenny away, I say, "Can you please help this one?"
The animal handler will say, "Yeah, we're on it." So
Thank you.
You got something for donkeys, huh?
For this one, yes.
Because we'll take good care of her. As that conversation, quick conversation comes to an old, what was that, Russell?
I was going to say, probably would keep a hold of my horse. I'm sure that.
They're not taking off with your horses.
Okay. Because I was going to mount up, and if anybody else want to join, we go and meet the party that's coming towards us.
Yeah, well, I was about to say, as that quick conversation wraps up, you can hear a trumpet blast off in the far end of town, and you can only assume that would mean that party has arrived at the entrance to the town.
Okay.
So yeah, I leave it to y'all. You know the situation.
I guess we'll just wait there. Let's not start another
Terrask,
war.
make a perception test.
20.
You hear a voice behind you, and you notice that dwarven woman snuck on the ship, and she's there, and she's behind you, and she says, "The name's Fozara Brownpike." It's the first time she's spoken.
She stowed away.
Is anyone else around to see this?
Nope.
So Terrask is looking around to see if anyone else is around to see this. Is this happening? What are you doing here?
Well, I hope you don't mind, Sir Terrask. I couldn't bear not to live another day without you.
I'm without words, dwarf. This is insanity.
She says, she elbows you and she says, "Fozara knows how to take care of you real good."
You give good back rubs. This is difficult. But I can't take you where I'm going.
I was going to say something, but I'm like, Ishtar doesn't know this is going on.
Yeah, I'm not silver-tongued enough to come up with something like, "Oh, I'll go wherever you're going," kind of thing. But basically, it's that kind of reaction. She says she doesn't care where.
Oh, you don't have to worry. You won't know I'm there.
Yeah, exactly. You need someone taking care of you. What with the salt plague and all?
My friend Dane has the salt plague under control. He's a bit of a buzzkill, but he knows his way around healing.
She looks as
I'll
you
be
guys are.
fine.
She says, "That tightwad."
It'll be fine. I appreciate your concern, but I am struggling to be kind because I have maxed my quota for the day.
I ain't expecting you to be kind, and I ain't got nowhere else to go.
This is happening. Okay.
Could be handy to have a dwarf.
She smacks your ass and says, "This is happening.
We're gonna have rules." That is against rule number 1. We'll talk about the rules later. Let's go.
Who needs rules?
As you guys begin to kind of make your way into town expectantly, this band is coming, and indeed they do. They charge up, and the captain of the guard will come up to Korak. Of course, Daniel is with you guys, but he doesn't look at anyone other than the four of you. And he says, "Good, you're all here. We have to get you back to Nala quickly."
What has happened?
I'll explain on the way. And he sees the three of you with your horses, and then he looks at Ishtar and he says, "Do you need a mount?"
Yes, I do.
And salt. We're gonna need salt.
He looks at you kind of like, there's plenty of that in Nala. And he'll turn around
That's not okay. Salt for a trip, salt.
He says, "Somebody get the damn guy some salt. Come on." A dwarven tinker will come out from his little herb shop, and he kind of looks up and he says, "Well, I've got a little salt."
No, we don't need a little salt. I have a little salt, and he pulls salt out of his pocket. I have a little salt. I'm fine right now.
A little salt.
But if we go on that boat again and go crashing down, I need to have a backup salt. Otherwise, I don't know where I'll get salt from.
Salt.
We're not going on the ship.
Oh.
We're riding to Nala.
Oh.
Well,
he says it just like that too.
And he puts the salt. Well, he takes a lick, 2 licks, and then puts it back into his pocket.
Now, this is before the riders even got to us, right?
No, those were the riders.
Yeah, these are the riders. He's captain of the guard.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's right. Okay.
Yep. And he'll look to the guard behind him, and he'll tell him to get off his horse. He hands the horse over to you, Ishtar, and the guard behind him will hop on the back of another horse and ride with one of the other guards. So you temporarily have a horse. We're not going to stat it or anything like that. That's inconsequential at this point.
Just a regular horse, okay.
Yeah. You guys will all be able to keep pace as you ride through the night to get back up to Nala. It takes you about 2 hours to ride up to the city where the guards at the gate are waiting for you. They will open up the gate as you all storm in.
As we were riding up, did anything look off?
No, nothing on the outside.
Okay.
No, nothing on the outside looks off. But he said he would explain on the way, and he says that basically while you guys were gone, a lot of crap has happened, and much of the city is in disarray. Much of the city is there are some religious zealots that have taken over. There's been a string of thefts in the Noble Market District. There appears to be some kind of gang that's slowly taking over the Noble Market District. And
would they? I asked, would they happen to be the Dragon's Hand?
He says he's unsure about that, but what he does know is that this all started since shortly after you guys left. Lady Sybil decided to travel back to her home in I gotta find the name of the keep. Give me just a second. It's Coulterberry Keep up in the north. And shortly after leaving, her caravan was assaulted, and she was taken away. So Lady Sybil has been abducted, and then since then, there's basically been chaos in the city. Religious zealots and these thieves taking advantage of it. And Lord Coelhelm anxiously awaits your arrival, because he can use all the help he can get at this point.
Well, good. He owes me land.
Is Lord Phileas here?
He says, "No, Lord Files left around the same time Lady Sybil did, to go back to his homeland and attend to his fairs."
Okay.
So yeah, you guys, you get to that front gate. It's the southern gate to the city. So you're let in, and basically the street that you're on separates the Noble Market District to your left and the noble housing on the right. And you guys cut through the noble housing to your right to get to beeline straight for the castle. And when you get there, let me think, who is with you? Daniel will have come with you, but he is going straight back to his bookshop to check on things there. And no, actually, you know what? He would have stayed behind and stayed the night in the village. So Daniel's in the village for right now. Sir Remshel is with Daniel. And one thing about Sir Remshel that you notice is that ever since that you guys picked him up, there have only been a few guards and a few of the ship crew members that have actually seen his face. Most of the time, he wears a mask and a hood. And if you didn't know any better, he looks like a normal human being. But he has to maintain that visage, otherwise his cover's blown. So he always looks like this daunting figure. But you guys know it's just Sir Remshel.
Just Sir Remshel.
Just some cursed bag of bones. So... Yep. So... You guys will make your way into the castle, where you are immediately escorted to the throne room. There's no fanfare. There's nothing. You guys are taken directly to Lord Coelhelm. And he sees you all coming from a distance, and he says, "Oh, thank the dragon gods. Come, we have much to speak of." And he'll usher you back into the cloakroom.
The cloak.
Yes, I'm assuming you all go in?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. He sits down and he sits you all down and he says, first of all, I'm glad to see that you all have returned in one piece. I am glad also that the ship that you took was able to sustain you for your journey. Tell me what
most of it.
He says, tell me, what is Lord Gaiman's fate? Were you able to make it to Nala? Or not Nala, to Lane?
Kind of.
Outside the what?
I was on top of the wall.
We made it to Lane.
Did you complete the task
Lane,
I
did not
paid
get
you
in the
for?
city.
We were attacked.
Immediately.
Oh.
By his order.
Hmm.
And we had not identified ourselves or anything. That is the standing order of his guards, is to attack any that approach.
And they're not your normal guards.
He takes a moment and he says that would explain why our other reconnaissance missions have never returned.
We do have some of the guards with us in the village that would probably be willing to talk to you about the situation. It does not look good there. Also, he used some sort of automatons.
He tilts his head and he says, he doesn't want to, he's too busy to contemplate a word he doesn't know right now. And he'll say, you have guards with you. Are they bound? Are they imprisoned? Are they shackled?
No,
they came of their own volition.
But they attacked you.
Yes, we worked through that.
We got over that.
He says,
they attacked me.
Go ahead.
They attacked because they did so on orders of their king.
All right, I'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Gotcha.
Well, once we took necessary steps to neutralize the situation, and
we're able to get them on our side.
He says, well, this is good news. They should prove to be a valuable source of information, should they be willing to speak. You're probably wondering why I called you here so quickly. Something terrible has happened. Our Lady Sybil, the fine Sylvan elf Lady Sybil, has been abducted. We don't know by whom. We don't know under what motivations or circumstances. All we know is that one of her contingent came back, badly wounded. He did not survive, but he survived long enough to tell us that the entire caravan was attacked on their way back to Calderberry Fortress. And the lady is gone. She herself wasn't attacked, she was abducted. But there were no other survivors. And this has sent off a panic in my city. He said, Lord Coelhelm and Lord Klein have been here with me. We are all frantically trying to maintain the peace in this great city.
How long ago did this occur?
Says about 3 or 4 days after you left. She decided to travel north to take up her responsibilities where she rules. She has no underlings that can do that for her while she is gone. So she feels a great responsibility to her people.
Or perhaps is in league, like Lord Gaiman. Gaiden.
He says, Lady Sybil, in league with an enemy, not of her own willful volition, much as I suspect Lord Gaiman's will is not his own. Something is amiss here. There is a darkness that is overwhelming this city, this land. Ever since we finished the war 20 years ago, slowly, I thought once we killed the lady, once she was gone, this would all end. We could get back to life as normal. But slowly, things have been chipping away. Everything has been falling apart. And they seem to be coming to a head. And I don't know how to stop it or what to do. That's why I've called you here.
Terrask is going to stand up abruptly. He's not upset when he talks about destroying the lady, but he kind of looks the other way and he says to the wall, maybe the lady's not really your problem. Maybe you have bigger problems.
He says, the lady has always been the biggest problem. She's the cause of all of this.
I wouldn't be so sure.
If you know something that I don't know, I demand you tell me now.
Let's see if I survive this salt plague. And then we should talk.
He says, I will have you thrown in the dungeons and you can rot with your salt plague there, for all I care. You will tell me what you know and you will tell me now. And when he says this, he has the look of a war-torn general who's seen many battles. He looks suddenly much older than he did before, and he looks tired and beaten.
I just know that the power over Lane is not simply of the lady. He's not going to go
others
into
involved.
Something bigger than her. He's specifically not talking about being in that realm. If he would just sound like a crazy person.
He says, he looks to Korak and he says, is this true? Do you know what he speaks of?
Out of character, you haven't really discussed this with us, correct?
No, I believe what Terrask is referring to is the fact that Lord Files is actually the one who is behind the scenes on everything.
Oh.
He just doesn't want to come out and say it.
Oh, I was talking about when I was speaking with my mother, and she was like imprisoned there by somebody else, and talking about him.
Yes, yeah. You probably would have put it together that the someone else at this point was Lord Files, who was the person. He seems to be at the center of all of this.
And I didn't share this with anybody, so no, you wouldn't be really aware of it.
But we did ask the I want to say the peacock.
Book.
Yeah, the book. Yeah.
Peacock spirit.
Yeah.
That's a new my game.
But then we would be telling this High Lord that we asked a magic book of who's responsible, and it pointed to someone.
He sees your hesitation, and then he takes you all in. Go ahead.
We believe that there is someone else involved, and we need to get proof before we say anything.
He contemplates what you say for a second, and his demeanor goes from aggressive, hawkish war general to more of a diplomat at this point, and he says, I understand. But the instant you find anything more out, I need you here. I need to know. The city will fall. It won't be long. Religious zealots, since they heard that Lady Sybil had been taken, they have taken over the great library. They have amassed a following, and worse yet, they have great sympathy from the residents here in Nala. If I were to just send my guards in and expel them from the tower, from the great library, we would have full-scale civil war in the city. And I'm not willing to do that. The zealots are there because they believe that this library was once a great temple, and that if they go down deep enough, they'll find remnants of the old temple. That's about as much as I know.
Do they have a name? Do they go by anything?
He says, no. They're
looking
we've
for
been
a
referring
temple?
to them as the following, because everybody seems to be listening to what they have to say, and I have to admit, I myself am tempted sometimes to believe what they say.
So
Could I make a
temple that's under
a logic history check? Or
Yeah, anybody can, if they want to. Make a logic history test.
or
8.
Sorry, I'm just double checking my check here. Okay, it's 6.
3 ones.
Wow. I don't even know the name of the castle you're in.
guys, let a professional handle this. 25.
Okay. Yes, you can remember, now that he mentions it, you can remember having read in some of your texts at the monastery that there in the south from where you were at, so this would be south, there was a great temple dedicated to the red fire, or to the red dragon god. And that it went deep underground, and there were many rooms. It was very lavish. There was kind of an underground gladiatorial ring, if you will, or circuit that would operate out of it. If your books are correct. And but then again, you were reading books from that might have been a biased source, talking about the tendencies of people who follow the Red Dragon, and
Big news.
So yeah, so you it rings a bell. You're not 100% sure, but this might be it. This could be it. This could be what they're rallying around us. And Lord Coelhelm will say that they think that this is the fulfillment of some kind of prophecy, and that the end is coming.
And based on that, can I establish that he's what he's talking about as the following? I know as the dragon's hand.
No, there doesn't seem to be much of any relationship
connection
with any, not with any of the information you have before you.
Okay.
And then he says,
perhaps we should go.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, perhaps we should go visit the library for ourselves.
He says, there's that. There's Lady Sybil's disappearance. That's of utmost priority. I don't even know where to begin with that. And then what's worse, maybe not worse, but what's more anyway, is that there have been a string of robberies, and basically gangs have taken over the Noble Market District. The great people, my relatives, my people's families can't shop there now because they fear for their lives. They fear for their purses. And he says that it's a group that calls themselves the Skullduggers, and they have no...
Skullduggers.
No respect for anything. And he says, so I'll leave the decision to you. You basically, I need your help. You can choose. You've done a lot for me as it stands now, and I appreciate that. You have been paid for this. And certainly you'll be paid for this as well.
So we have to find Lady Sybil, but we don't know really where. And then, but here in the city, there's the Zealots gang.
Exactly.
And all of it happened coincidentally at pretty much the same time.
Not so coincidentally. It was the disappearance of Lady Sybil that sparked the religious zealots, which then in turn set off the opportunistic skullduggers from for going off and doing their crime. So it's not so coincidental as it is entropic. It's just chaos.
The Joker's here. Well, since we have no leads on this Lady Sybil, might as well start here in Nala and see if we get any leads from there.
But where should we go first? Should we deal with the Skullduggers or should we deal with the Zealots?
May I interject for a moment, fellas? I think finding Lady Sybil is probably more important than, and no offense, my lord, whether or not the aristocracy can shop today. So that should be our priority. However, I am suffering from a bit of a affliction, and it wouldn't do us any good to be treating me out in the woods while trying to find the lady. So, I think we're going to need a place to stay, and then however you want to make yourselves busy here, I think either of those should be short work for our skilled expeditionary party.
He says, I agree, and of course, this castle, the quarters at least, are your home, and I will have my medical staff attend to you immediately.
Terrask grins. That's really what he wanted, and he licks his hand again.
Yeah, Lord Coelhelm will say, I've seen some strange things in my time. This, I I'm not familiar with. What is it exactly you're suffering from? And should I be worried that it's contagious?
Salt plague, and only if I bite you. Are you made of salt?
He says, he smirks and he says, you can't get near me.
Fair.
And with that, when you say fair, he takes that as a sign of respect, that you recognize his prowess as a war general. And he...
Well, wait. He says fair, and he sees the kind of recognition in the other guy, and then he goes, but you're not made of salt, right?
He's pepper.
He doesn't know how to react. He feels rather uncomfortable, and he'll just say, "That is all. I'm glad to see you all made it back. Again, you'll be escorted to your quarters and tended to medically for any other needs that you have." And then he looks to Ishtar and he says, "You, Ishtar, is it?"
Me? Yes, Ishtar.
He says, "Stay behind a moment." And then he'll usher the rest of you out with
before I head out, I would go to him and say, "Sir, my brother is coming here from Lane with his wife and child. Can you ensure that he is well cared for?"
He looks at you with this look of like feigned hope. He's like, if they make it here, they can sleep in the castle. They'll be taken well care of. They'll need it if they make it here.
That is greatly appreciated, and I give him their names so that way they know. He knows who to expect.
And then he'll usher the rest of you out. And the rest of you are kind of ushered to your rooms. And he looks to you, Ishtar, and he says, after you left, I did a little bit of research on each one of you. And the other three, I understand, and I don't have much information on any of you, but I at least have names and, for the most part, places of origin. However, what I noticed when I looked at your name is your last name. Is your last name not Parator?
Who else is in the room?
Just you and him in the cloakroom.
Okay. Yes. It's been a very long time since I've gone by that, but that is my last name.
And he kind of furrows his chin a little bit, and he says, "Your father, he was a great general, was he not?"
That's what I've been told. I never met him. Supposedly he died before I was born, or when I was a little baby. I've been told lots of stories, but I personally never knew him.
He makes his way around to the door, which is shut. He'll open it and he'll whisper something to the guard outside the door, and then that guard runs off to go do something else, and he closes the door back, and he sees you again, and he says, "I knew your father, Roan. General Parator, yes, I knew him quite well. I served with him on the battlefield. And while he started off as a commander of the local army from the town that you're from Luich, his prowess on the battlefield quickly got him promoted to our ranks, and we were happy to have him. I didn't know him all that well. However, I have it under good information that your father may still be alive. And then he'll say,
Really?
he nods and he says, I've just called for a guard who served under his battalion. He should be here any moment. Are you comfortable with this?
Yeah, it's just no. Well, not. I was expecting my day to go.
He says, believe me, I understand.
So Ishtar puts together one of his little.
And yes, as you sit and wait, he'll pour himself a drink and he'll sip it slowly. And then finally,
I offer him.
He passes. And then a few moments pass, and the guard comes back with another guard who is dressed very similarly. Looks like he just grabbed him from another part of the castle, and he ushers him in. And he gives Lord Coelhelm a stern salute, and Lord Coelhelm says, "At rest, soldier." And he relaxes, and of course, with his hands behind his back and his feet shoulder width apart. And he says, what have you called me here for, sir? And he says, I've called you here to... You served under Roan Parator, General Parator. Is that correct? He looks out of the corners of his eyes, and he looks over to Ishtar, and he says, yes, that's correct. And this guy is maybe... How old are you, Ishtar?
Late 20s.
Yeah, so this guy's in his...
26 or 27.
This guy's in his late 40s, early 50s. He's clearly not on active patrol duty or anything like that. He's just a castle guard.
I didn't write it down, but I remember it was either 26 or 27.
Yeah, that's fine. And Lord Coelhelm will say, this is Roan's son. And the guard will look at you and he'll say, I guess I'm not surprised. And then Lord Coelhelm will say, please, tell him what you told me when you came back. And the soldiers say, permission to speak casually. And Lord Coelhelm will say, permission granted. And he relaxes his stance, and he'll say, your father was a great general, and I owe my life to him several times over. He was the first to charge into battle, and the last to leave the battlefield, checking all of the wounded or dead. And I've never held more respect for a man in my life. And you indeed look a lot like him. I don't know how to tell you this, but he's not the man that he was that I knew. Not only is your father still alive, but as we were serving with him, slowly over time, he seemed to become more maniacal. It seemed like something had darkened his mind, darkened his thoughts. And eventually it got to the point where he had a love affair with a woman of nobility. I don't know any further details, but what I do know is what happened afterwards. And that is that when he finally did find out about it, he himself marched back to that city and executed her. He says very hesitantly. He says, and after that,
That answers a question.
He continued to have affairs. However, he would ensure that the woman never bore any children by having them murdered or killing them himself. And I know this because he would scream about these things in his sleep. None of us had the gall to wake him up or to ask him questions or anything, but...
So why was that the exception?
He says, you must have been the first. You must have your true mother, your birth mother must have had you and then was killed. He doesn't know that you exist. And that I know for sure.
Oh.
And he says
to be fair, I've thought he's been dead pretty much my whole life, so...
He says, that's not all. And then he kind of casts a glance to Lord Coelhelm, and Lord Coelhelm nods. Then he looks to you again, and he says, as he went further down this path of darkness, of doing things that seemed unnatural, there came a point in a battle that we were fighting against the Lady Naladri that he would not stop maiming a body. He just wouldn't stop. And when we went to stop him, he attacked us. And we had no choice but to fight him. And he cut many of us down, but we were eventually successful in taking him down. But when we thought we killed him, he got back up and he killed more of us. And we dropped him again, and he killed even more of us. And I was one of the only ones that survived. I ran for my life. Whatever he has become, he is an abomination. And I hate to have to tell you this. I'm glad that you never knew him before, because he was a good man. And if you see him in the future, just know that the man that you see before you isn't your father. He died.
So I have the blood of an abomination in me. Plus another.
And Lord Coelhelm will say, thank you, soldier. You're excused. And do you have anything else to ask him before he heads out of the room?
He started not that I can think of now. It's a good story, though.
He'll leave, and Lord Coelhelm will look to you and say, I'm sorry you had to find this out. However, I feel it is better that you know, just in case for some reason you wind up crossing swords with him, or I didn't want you to be taken off guard or surprised. And honestly, I wanted to see your reaction, because I wasn't sure on what you knew, but clearly...
what I knew was he was a general, died in battle, and I was reminded my whole life that I was his bastard son, which is kind of why I grew up as a nomad. So I don't really hate him, but I don't really care that much.
He says, good. Because the time may indeed come where I don't know if he's fighting for the lady or what his intention or purpose is, but if we are fighting against the lady and he is fighting for her, then there will inevitably come a time that we cross blades with him. And I need to know that you are okay with felling him, if it comes to that.
Yeah, that won't be a problem.
He says, good. Then I can only feel that we have the advantage in that he does not know you exist, however you know that he does. He says,
the only problem is that guard says I look like him, so...
He says, well, He killed off most of his battalion, so not many other people are going to recognize you.
Okay.
Well, there's that.
Yeah, there's that. Okay. I remind him of a mass murder. That's good.
They're all dead. Yeah.
I could fuck with this guy in his sleep so bad.
So he says, get a good night's sleep.
No, nothing. I fucked up sleep.
He says, get a good night's sleep and be ready for the day tomorrow.
Let's give it a thumbs up.
Okay, the rest of you, Terrask, I need you to roll your endurance dice pool as the night presses on, which should be at 66.
It's 5. Yeah.
5.
Okay.
Now, would the medical team at this point take over?
Yes.
Okay. Then I shall step aside.
I lost another 2. So I'm at 3.
But I'm going to look at Dane and be like, don't go too far. We don't know that these guys know what they're doing.
Okay, they
In
will
front of them.
automatically succeed in giving you 1 die back. However, your dice pool does not exceed your starting dice pool.
Right.
So this day does not count as your time interval success. So you still have
Right.
Salt Plague for another day at least.
Yep.
Okay. Other than that, you all wake up in the palace, very well rested, very comfortable beds, and yeah, the day is yours to do as you wish.
Ishtar grabbed as many pillows as he could in the bed. It's like, this is the royal bed. Why not?
Again, I ask, which would you guys rather go for first? Would you rather go for the street gang or go for the zealots?
Let the dice decide.
Fun idea.
My dice says the zealots. But that's what the dice says.
Which one would be saltier?
Which one is... Do we know... Yeah, kitchen salt. Which one is affecting the city
Which
more?
one's happening in the salt mines?
Which one's affecting the city more? That one's hard for you to determine.
I mean, I know the nobles will tell us the gangs, but in general...
Exactly. Your general sense of it is that with all the shit you've seen going on lately, whatever these zealots think they're onto could have some merit, because you've seen a lot of crap lately.
Have any taverns gotten attacked?
Make a charisma investigation check if you have it.
No investigation, but a good charisma. 10, 12, 13.
You hear about a small incident that happened at one of the local bars, but it wasn't anything that all that significant. No bars have been like overrun or attacked.
Okay, so that's
outside of the Noble Market District. Inside there, you can only guess.
I say let's stop the gang first, because I feel like that. I'm kind of going low fruit on the. Yep.
Low hanging fruit.
Low hanging fruit. That's what I was thinking of. Yes.
Certainly does sound easier to bash up the street thugs.
The zealots are going, and there's some old temple ruins underneath this library. I think a little bit of street gangs, maybe I don't know about easier fighting, but we didn't have to go trampling through a old temple.
Is it decided
I
then?
don't.
I pretty much, yeah. We'll go for it. We'll go for the gang first, and then go after the zealots next. Hopefully, and hoping, and of course, part of this will be to also gain information to see if we can find out what happened to the lady.
Well, that's what I was saying. Lady Sybil's a priority, but we have no idea where to start.
Right.
And we had 2 problems right here. Maybe we'll find a lead at one of these.
Rory, were you about to say something?
No. I'm good.
All right, Tony?
Okay, that sounds good.
All right. You guys will make your way over to the Noble Market District. It's not a very far walk. Takes you maybe 20 minutes to get there by foot. And you get over there, and the entrance to the district, the main entrance anyway, is basically quarantined off. And there are a bunch of guards there, and one of the guards holds his spear up, and he says, "Halt! You're not allowed to go into the Noble Market District. There's chaos in there right now."
We know. We're here to try and stop it.
He looks you guys over, and he looks at his buddy, and he says, "You're here to stop it?"
Yes.
I look to like the giant 7-foot orc. I'm like, yeah.
Yes, my friend. As in, there's
They
a
see
thing
me.
that's
They see
happening.
me clench. They see me clench my fist, and it starts to glow. The elemental fist ability.
He says,
Yeah,
"Look at
we're
this
here to take care of the
ragtag.
problem."
Look at this ragtag bunch of. All right, let him in."
Talk to Lord Coelhelm if you don't believe us.
He says, "Oh, I believe you. Either that or I don't care." And he opens up the
The way
gate,
it works.
and he lets you in.
As I pass by, I mutter under my breath. I get the distinct feeling it's the latter.
And as I bring up the rear, I kind of lean over towards him and I sniff him. I go, "You smell salty."
He pushes you. He says, "Back off, elf."
Just like fart at him as he does that.
And now, so I guess, he was kind of half joking, but half succumbing to the addiction before.
Mhm.
But he kind of shakes his head a little bit and just kind of looks at him real and just goes, "Yeah, I don't like you. You're going to have problems." And then he walks away.
You hear him mutter something, but it's indescript. And
Terrask just calls up ahead. "That guy was salty, right? He was really... There was a lot of salt."
as the door shuts behind you, we see the guards talking, and he looks at his friend and he says, "They're not going to last 5 minutes in there." When you walk in, everybody make perception tests.
Okay.
223.
4 5s and a 3.
Wow.
23.
13.
11.
Okay.
Two 4s and 3 1s.
That guy really pissed me off.
Save my luck dice for battle.
Yeah, everybody but Korak, you see people hiding in buildings. You can see them squatting, waiting, crossbows in hand, scimitar on belt.
Freeze.
And this is right as we entered, right?
Oh yeah.
I freeze and I put my arms out to the side to stop anybody, but not knowing who's seen it and who hasn't. And I just go,
Laura Trask, and I point at him. See that dumbass trying to hide up there?
"Yeah, it's really bad.
Where?
They're right in the open."
Roll initiative.
You guys remember I had 1d6 to your initiative. Oh, that was not okay. Yeah, I'm for that.
And initiative is what again? 'Cause I
25.
think I might have increased that by 1.
Intuition.
Oh, it's
Intuition
just straight
plus
intuition. Okay.
tactics or reactions.
Oh, okay. I don't have any of those. Yeah, so it's just straight.
And
So
Dane, did you say
it's right.
25?
Just add 1d6. Yes.
Okay.
22.
18.
12.
You guys are making it easy right down the line.
You got you guys did remember to add the extra 6.
Yes.
Yeah, I just rolled crappy.
No, I didn't. Shoot. Sorry.
That's actually who I was more directing that.
So that's a 22.
Oh,
Sorry.
very nice.
Tied with Korak.
13.
Yeah, what's your agility, Terrask?
Oh, sorry. I thought we were putting scores. My agility is a dice pool of 4d6.
What's the raw stat?
Oh, sorry. 14.
Oh, wow. Okay. You go ahead of Korak. You are a ranger, though. That can make sense.
Yeah, that's kind of my
Well.
stat.
Yeah, the knight did not give me a boost in agility.
Yeah.
Okay. They got... Okay.
You can just see this. Me and Terrask walk over like, look at those dumbasses hiding up there.
And they start to open fire, but you have Dane. You are up. As you take in your surroundings, you see you are facing kind of a broad alleyway, and businesses on either side. Shop signs and everything. And then on top of some buildings, you see guys hiding behind crates. Other buildings are like 2 or 3 stories, and you see guys with their legs kind of dangling out the window with their crossbows aimed at you, and so on and so forth.
So nobody's at ground level.
Not presently. Nope.
Okay. It makes it kind of hard to do things. Because I don't have range attack at all. Not even with what magic skills I have.
You don't have like a Hadouken?
No. Actually, my Hadouken has been severely borked because of me putting points in chi. And chi doesn't work with magic. Yeah, I wish. No, I'm going to. I guess what I'm trying to figure out is, technically speaking, how far away. I mean, I'm guessing I'd have to go into a building, up a set of stairs, and then go after somebody, right?
Or scale the building, the outside of the building itself. The closest one to you is
my climb's only a 3.
The closest one to you is up and to your left, on top of a building behind some crates. And if you had to guess, the building is about 20 feet high, and he is about 30 feet away.
Okay, so yeah, I'd have to use. Let's see, my movement speed's 6, so I'd probably end up using both my actions just to get up there and engage. Would that be accurate?
Yes. Yep, you would move and then spend the rest of your movement climbing. You wouldn't. You have a climb of 3, so as soon as you started climbing, you could only climb 15 feet up. Before
I was looking to go in. I was more trying to see if I can get inside the building and get up and get to him that way.
Yes. That will take both actions, and you basically find yourself at the hatch that goes up to the roof.
Okay.
But before you get there, make a perception test and see if you can make a perception test as soon as you get in the building and see if you can find that hatch.
Okay. Wow, nice. 18.
Yep, you find it, and you make your way there, and then we head over to Terrask.
Okay, sorry, it cut out a little bit for me. How far away were the people?
The closest one is about 30 feet out and 20 feet high, taking cover behind some crates. The other ones are up a little higher, about 30 to 40 feet higher, and 30 feet out. They're a little bit further out. And to your best guess from what you can see in total about 5 or 6 bandits in total. Some are a little bit further down, but there's 3 that are the closest to you right now.
Okay. So those 3, Terrask is going to swing his bow off and notch it, pull it back, and he's going to aim towards the cluster of 2 because he's not moving, so he's going to be able to fire 2 shots per action. All right.
So they are taking cover. So you're going to subtract 2d6 from your attack roll.
Okay. So you know what I'm actually going to do? I'm going to use my first action to take aim.
Okay.
And that for me is an extra d6. So I'm basically just going to neutralize their cover.
Yep, because you're careful aim.
I'm going to stick at... So I'll still be at 76.
Sweet.
Okay, so wow. I got a 39. There is...
You're shooting just one of them?
That doesn't hit.
That was just one. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sixes.
Wow.
There are 6 sixes here, a 4 and a 3. There are 6 sixes. Is that a double crit? Do I double crit?
Sure. Yeah, you can explode on 5s and 6s.
Awesome, because I have Deadly Strike now, so I do extra damage there too.
Now, is this arrow just to one guy, or like is this a split shot kind of thing?
Well, no, this is just the first one, and then I'm going to fire another one at the guy next to him. But I'll do this one first, so it's 4d6 damage.
He's got a range defense of 20, a health of 15, and a soak of 3. So...
Okay. Well, the first roll is 19, and there was a 6.
Mm-hmm.
So 19 plus 3, it's 22 total.
You drop him. He falls out the window and hits the ground like a sack of bricks.
Okay, and I fire at the other one, and this one is a 29. Only 1 6 this time. Reasonable.
Now, did you detract the 2d6?
Oh, right. Careful aim is only for
so
the
just
first
don't re-roll
one.
it. Just subtract the last 2 rolls from
the last 2
from your total. Yeah.
Okay. So 22.
Okay, that's still a hit. Yep.
Okay. And that's gonna do 25 damage.
You drop them both. They land on top of each other.
And then I'm just going to point to no one in particular. I'm just going to be like, still one right there.
Pointing off in the distance.
Yeah, just to that one guy that's left.
Korak, You are up.
Okay. So I failed my perception check miserably before this started, so...
Terrask just pointed out that there's a guy behind a crate up there. So you see him.
Okay. And this is the guy that's closest, so 30 feet away and 20 feet up?
Yep. So I don't know what the range increment on your throwing spears are.
They are 6.
So 30 feet. So does that account for vertical as well? Would it technically still be 30 feet away? Or would it
30,
be
that would be a little bit further because we'd be going over the hypotenuse, so...
Yeah, that
Okay.
would almost be like half
So
way.
you'd be out
So
of
basically-
one range increment.
Well, I can move forward
Oh, yeah.
and get to one range increment.
3x plus 4y divided by 5z.
And he is taking cover, so it's a negative 2d6 to the attack.
Okay.
So now, even after all that, the solution is still
Okay.
high.
I got double 6s, so I critted. And other than that, I did 26 to hit. So
Okay, yep.
Crit on that.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought the exploit that allowed you to crit with double 6s was only an exploit that was only for one particular weapon that you assigned it to.
Sorry.
I just haven't read it in a long time. I forget.
That might be true. Yes, that is true. Sorry.
Okay.
So, I still hit.
Though. Yeah.
And did 16 points of damage.
Okay, he's still alive, but just barely. So your spear goes up and it bashes through the crate, and it glances off the side of it, breaks off a huge piece of wood, and catches him on the shoulder. And it sticks in halfway through his shoulder, and he's blood-curdling scream.
Spear stick out of him.
It's his turn, because that was your 2 actions, right?
Yep.
It's his turn, and he will just fire at one of you down on the ground. He takes aim at Terrask. He tries to take him out, so he's going to take aim. I don't even know why I'm bothering rolling. It's a 66, so let's see. See what he gets. He gets a 24 with his crossbow against Terrask's ranged defense.
And that just hits.
Okay, cool. It's 3d6 piercing damage, which winds up being 12 points of piercing damage.
So I imagine it doesn't stick in. It just kind of like slices through, like the outside of my leg or arm, whichever you prefer. And I just like, kill that.
And he's pretty pleased with himself, and he will go ahead and begin reloading his crossbow. And the other bandits go next. They will move up into this battlefield. They've hopped down from the buildings and are approaching you guys on the street, and they are now about 40 feet away. There's 3 of them, and you can see they run up and take shots with their crossbows. They are within the range increment, so that's fine. They can't take aim though, so it's just a 5d6 on 2 of them will shoot at Korak, and 1 of them will shoot at Terrask. The first 2 that shoot at Korak, the first one's a 10, and the second one's a 20.
20 is my ranged, So it hits.
Okay, so one of them catches you in the side of the arm and hits you for 14 points of piercing damage. Terrask, a bolt comes towards you with an 18 to hit.
Yeah, no, he just kind of steps aside, and it clangs down behind him.
Okay, Ishtar, you're up.
All right. I kind of want to use my new song. So I break out my lute. Oh, this is so cheer mania. What's a good one? Hey, he's gonna start doing it like a really silly, probably to other people looks very stupid dance.
Weird Al.
Like a punk song almost, but with a stupid ass dance. And now I'm trying to hit.
Oh, come on. You should be doing Canadian Idiot by Weird Al.
That could work, actually, yeah. Now it says the target, but I have projection, so can I make that an area or?
Yeah, sure. It's a song.
Sorry.
Everybody should be able to hear it.
I get one. I gotta beat their mental defense.
Oh, you're casting it on them. That's right. That's going to send them down on the floor laughing.
Yeah.
Yes, you can project it out to
The book says that the book says the target, and I got that, but I'm like, I have that projection ability, so
Yeah,
three of them. Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of what's making sense to me with that projection. Otherwise, I'd say just one target. It's more of a magical focused kind of, they can hear you, but nobody else can. But the projection suggests to me that it's, yeah.
All right. So I gotta beat 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. All right. I got a 19.
All right, and it's versus their mental defense?
Yep.
That hits.
All right. So they fall prone in gales of uncontrollable laughter and can take no other actions.
Now, that was your first action, though, to do
takes-
one.
Well, that's the second level, so that was my whole.
Right. So, is it that you? So, explain to me, because I'm not familiar with the bard stuff. So, is it just two actions to do that, or is it one action for each?
It's like one action to get the first level. It's like it's to hit each level. It's like a separate action.
Right. So I'll need you to roll again another performance check against their mental defense. Yep.
All right.
That's what I thought it was. I just wasn't sure.
17.
Yep, that hits. So there you go. They both, or all three of them rather, go down. And
I'm just kind of like hopping around playing a lute.
Yeah, and they just they drop their weapons. They just start cracking up uncontrollably. Their faces are beet red. They're rolling on the floor, absolutely laughing.
This is
awesome. Top of the round is Dane.
All right. So I open that hatch and
surprise, motherfucker!
Kind of carefully.
He's got a spear in his shoulder right now, so he's just desperately trying to, like, he's got his foot in the stirrup of the crossbow, and he's like, he's like fighting for his life right now.
He's like, oh shit.
Okay, I'm going to move in on him, and he's going to learn what it's like to be armbarred.
He's like, no.
I'm going to use my arm lock. So I have to spend 2d6 for that. I'll spend a luck die just to help increase my chance. And I'm guessing this is, it's just my standard martial arts attack. So. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. But, did get an explosion. Okay.
Dice are not in your favor.
15, 16.
It really shouldn't matter.
20.
It's a 10 that you're trying to hit. Yeah, that hits.
So that puts his arm in a painful restricted position. He immediately drops anything held in that arm. So
Yeah,
he
he
had
drops-
both hands on the crossbow. He drops the crossbow.
So I kind of see it as you come up to him and you
action to escape.
you press your fist into his shoulder where the spear is in, and he cries out in pain and drops the crossbow. And then what happens?
The lock remains in place until he makes an agility attack action to escape it. While in place, I can inflict 1d6 damage per round for free.
Okay, does that apply immediately?
It doesn't say. So I'm not sure.
It does.
I would think. Okay, so he takes 3 points of damage.
He dies. You rip his arm off.
Awesome.
There's gouts of blood. You come up to him and you basically incapacitate him. And he's lost so much blood at this point from the spear in his shoulder that you come up to him and you basically kick the crossbow out of his hands, and he tries to reach for you, and you step to the side, you grab his arm, and in the process of getting his arm in a locked position, you slam him against the ground, and then after that he's knocked unconscious and bleeds to death. So you just take him right out.
Ronda Rousey ain't got nothing on me.
Yeah. Then next would be Terrask. You have 3 helpless targets in front of you.
I'm gonna start doing a new dance.
I think he's just gonna kind of come. He's just gonna come strolling up. Like he's gonna put his bow back on his back. He's not gonna shoot anybody from this range. He's gonna pull out one of his swords, and I think he's gonna take a seat on. Well, he's gonna walk up to one of these guys, and what does he see besides them laughing? Just them rolling around.
Yeah, their weapons are their scimitars are attached to their belts, and they're having a hard time managing the compulsion to roll around on the ground and just cracking up and not stabbing themselves. But their crossbows are on the ground as well.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna pin one of them down. I'm gonna try to put my knees on the shoulders and sit on him, and I'm gonna look at Ishtar and be like, "Could we kill the hysterics? Maybe ask this guy a few questions." It's a very good dance, though. It's very nice.
So you see, he starts to hop around on one foot, spinning around in a circle. I guess when it's his turn, is the combat done or?
No. After
okay,
Terrask
then.
is Korak. If Terrask is going to just pin one down and try to talk to him. So, Korak, you're up.
Okay. So I guess he'll go and pin another guy down.
Okay, after that, the first group of bandits, they are dead. Second group of bandits, they all get to try to shake the condition. So the first one he's going to try is the one that isn't pinned down, the last one. He fails. The one that's underneath Terrask fails. The one that's underneath Korak fails. So they all fail. They are all still laughing hysterically. Ishtar, you're up.
All right. So I'll end. Oh wait a minute, we still got one guy though.
No, you don't.
Pin him down.
Oh yeah, there's one guy, that isn't pinned down, yeah.
Yeah, but Ishtar's not a good pinner. It's probably pretty easy just to push off. I'm gonna hold till Dane's action
Okay.
because Dane can put him in like a suplex lock or something.
Yeah.
And it
And
Well,
pretty
it's
much
gonna take
once
me an action just to get down there.
Well, okay, so what's going to happen is we're going to drop initiative. These three are incapacitated. Dane,
pretty much once they're all pinned, I would like stop my song. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they would eventually wear off because I don't think it's contingent on you stopping your song. I think it's contingent on them making the save.
I was going to start applying a disadvantage with my fist.
Yeah. Yes. And eventually, yes, you guys are all wound up there. You've got the three of them pinned down, unarmed, and yeah, we'll go to Terrask first, since you had the first one pinned. He ceases laughing and he looks up at you and he looks terrified.
Who sent you? The classic line.
Who sent us? We're just looting the town, man. It's a free-for-all out here.
Like punch. Like just go like a flurry of blows. Why are you waiting for us?
He says, well, we keep watch at the front gates and make sure no guards try to come in and mess with us.
Yeah, well, we messed with you.
And then we'll go over to Korak, who's got another one pinned.
Okay.
It's a giant like orc sitting on a guy.
Yep, basically.
So how many of you guys are out here?
This guy seems a little bit more confident than the one Terrask has, and he says, I ain't telling you nothing, orc.
Okay, so intimidate.
Bad idea.
I love that. Okay, so
So intimidate is using charisma.
Yes.
Okay. So, okay.
I was going to say I can make one argument I've seen used in games is depending on what kind of intimidation you're doing, it could be charisma or it could be strength if you're using physical intimidation.
It wouldn't matter either one. They're the same for me. So, well, I haven't ripped out a throat in days. So, how many of you are there, and who is your leader? And yeah, not that great. 10, 16.
That beats his mental defense. He breaks. He says, there's hundreds of us, man. Our leader is, and at this point, Ishtar. I want you, Caleb, to come up with a name for me, please.
male or female?
Male. Actually, your choice. Doesn't matter.
Ah.
Is that a name?
We'll go female. Yasha.
Okay, he spits out the name. Yasha. Make sure somebody write that down because I'm not writing it down presently and I will forget.
It's a Critical Role reference. I'll remember it.
Okay.
Nice.
One more.
That's Ashley Johnson's new character in Critical Role. She's an Aasimar barbarian.
You immediately recognize the name from.
I do.
No, Ishtar does. I'm assuming he's standing there.
Oh yeah, I would have strolled over casually with the loot like behind my head.
Ishtar, you recognize the name as someone you were in a gang with, the Bones,
The bones.
when you were a kid. You recognize that as one of your good friends from olden days. And that's
That was
where we
in
call
that
it
was
for
in
tonight.
Lewis. That was in Lewis.
Nice.
She's here in Nala. Okay.
Yep.